If we observe, we see that all things, especially living beings, have numerous diverse needs and wants. And these wants and needs are provided for them at the appropriate time, in unexpected ways, from places they do not know and their hands cannot reach. Succor comes to them. However, the power of these needy beings is insufficient for even the smallest of those endless things they wish for. They cannot meet their needs. Consider yourself. How many things do you need that your hands cannot reach, such as your external and inner senses and their needs? Compare all other living creatures with yourself. See, just as individually they testify to the necessary existence and point to His unity, so in their totality they show to reason a necessarily existent one behind the veil of the unseen, a single one of unity, among titles of most generous, all-compassionate, nurturer and disposer. O ignorant unbeliever and dissolute heedless one! With what can you explain this wise, perceptive, compassionate activity? Deaf nature, blind force, senseless chance. Can you explain it through impotent, lifeless causes?
While in their existence and individuality, things exist in a hesitant, bewildered, and shapeless form among innumerable possible ways, they suddenly assume a most well-ordered and wise aspect of individuality. For instance, every human being possesses facial characteristics that distinguish them from their peers, and the face is endowed with profound wisdom through both external and inner senses. This demonstrates that the face is a brilliant stamp of divine oneness. Just as each face attests to the existence of an all-wise Maker and signifies His presence, the collective stamp displayed by all faces reveals to the mind's eye that all things bear a unique seal belonging to their Creator. O denier! To which workshop can you attribute these stamps that cannot be imitated in any way, and the stamp of eternal besottedness present in the entirety? The army of all the various species of animals and plants on the face of the earth consists of 400,000 different groups. Footnote: the members of some of those groups are even more numerous than all the members of the human race from the time of Adam up to the last day. The management and nurturing of these groups are maintained with perfect balance and order, encompassing sustenance, papers, weapons, uniforms, instructions, and demobilizations, each aspect distinct, nothing forgotten, and none confused. Who, other than one possessing boundless power, all-encompassing knowledge, and infinite wisdom, could play any part in this administration, which is wondrous to the utmost degree? For if someone unable to administer and nurture these interconnected species and nations interferes with one of them, chaos will ensue. However, in accordance with the meaning of, so turn your vision again, do you see any flaw? Quran 67:3. There is no sign of confusion. This signifies that not even a finger can disrupt the intricate order.
This is the acceptability of the supplications offered through the tongue of latent ability by all seeds, through the tongue of innate need by all animals, and through the tongue of exigency by the desperate. Yes, just as all these innumerable supplications are observably accepted and responded to, they, in their entirety, self-evidently indicate and point to an all-compassionate and generous Creator, the answerer of prayer. We observe that things, particularly living beings, come into existence suddenly, instantaneously. However, while one might expect entities emerging abruptly from a simple substance to be simple, formless, and lacking in art, they are, in reality, created with an art and beauty that demands much skill. They are adorned with painstaking embroideries that require significant time and decorated with wonderful arts that involve many tools. Thus, just as each of these instantaneous, wondrous arts and beautiful combinations indicates the necessary existence of an all-wise Creator and the unity of His dominicality, so, in their entirety, they vividly display the infinitely powerful, infinitely wise, necessarily existent one. So now, O stupefied denier, how can you explain this? Will you attribute it to nature, which is unconscious, impotent, and ignorant like you? Or do you wish to make an infinite mistake and label that all-holy maker as nature? On the pretext of naming him that, would you attribute the miracles of his power to it, and perpetrate an impossibility compounded 1,000 times over?
In the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of night and day, and the boats which travel through the seas for the benefit of men, and in what God sends down from the sky as rain, and with it raises to life the earth after its death, and raises in it every sort of living being, and in the circulating of the winds and the clouds subjugated between the heavens and the earth, are signs for a people who thinks. Quran 2:164. This verse not only points out the divine existence and unity, but also serves as a vast window displaying a greatest name. The essence of the verse is as follows. In both the higher and lower realms of the universe, all worlds, with diverse expressions, affirm a single outcome, the dominion of a singular, all-wise creator. For instance, just as astronomy attests, the highly ordered celestial movements yield extensive results, showcasing the existence, unity, and perfect dominion of an all-powerful one of glory in the heavens. Similarly, geography acknowledges the meticulous changes on Earth, such as the seasons, resulting in vast benefits, thus affirming the existence, unity, and perfect dominion of the same all-powerful one of glory. Furthermore, as animals on land and in the sea receive sustenance with perfect mercy, are clothed in diverse forms with perfect wisdom, and are endowed with various senses through perfect dominion, each testifies to the existence of the all-powerful one of glory, indicating his unity. Collectively, they magnify the tremendousness of his Godhead and the perfection of his dominion. Likewise, well-ordered plants, adorned flowers, proportionate fruits, and embellished embroideries collectively testify to the existence of the all-wise Maker, showcasing the beauty of his mercy and the perfection of his dominion. Raindrops charged with wisdom and aims affirm the necessary existence, unity, and perfect dominion of the all-wise Maker, just as the mountains, storing minerals for diverse benefits, display his strength and firmness. The diversity in the orderly shapes of leaves, the development of living bodies, and the conscious direction of organs towards various fruits collectively affirm the necessary existence, unity, and perfect dominion of the all-wise Maker, displaying his all-encompassing power, all-embracing wisdom, and the beauty of his art. The souls and spirits within animals, equipped with orderly systems and faculties, testify to the necessary existence of the all-wise Maker, illustrating his unity and manifesting the beauty of his mercy. Even the inspirations from the unseen imparted to hearts, unveiling sciences, knowledge, and truth, reveal the existence of an all-compassionate sustainer, pointing to his dominion. The external and inner senses, functioning as keys to different worlds, demonstrate as clearly as the sun the necessary existence, unity, oneness, and perfect dominion of the all-wise Maker, the all-knowing Creator, the most compassionate Creator, the all-generous Provider. Thus, through the 12 windows, the 12 aspects mentioned here, a vast window opens, displaying a 12-colored light of truth, affirming the oneness, unity, and perfect dominion of God Almighty. O unhappy denier! With what can you block this window as broad as the globe of the earth, even as its yearly orbit? And with what can you extinguish this source of light, shining like the sun? Behind which veil of heedlessness can you hide it?
The perfect order of arts scattered across the universe, their impeccable proportion, balance, and adornment, along with the ease in their creation and their inherent resemblance, collectively reveal on a vast scale the necessary existence, perfect power, and unity of an all-wise Maker. Furthermore, just as the creation of countless diverse, well-ordered complex beings from inanimate and simple elements attests to the all-wise Maker's necessary existence and underscores his unity, their totality brilliantly demonstrates his unity and the perfection of his power. The meticulous differentiation of beings during their renewal, as they are assembled and dissolved, exemplified by the precise distinction of shoots, growth of seeds and roots without confusion, and the separation of mixed-up substances entering trees into leaves, flowers, and fruits, all manifest the necessary existence, perfect power, and unity of the absolutely wise one. the absolutely knowing one, the absolutely powerful one. Consider also the transformation of the world's minute particles into a boundless, broad, arable field, continuously sowing and harvesting to yield fresh crops for different universes. Even these inanimate, seemingly impotent particles dutifully perform countless orderly duties with consciousness, wisdom, and capability. This phenomenon underscores the necessary existence of the all-powerful One of glory and Maker of perfection, emphasizing His perfect power, the grandeur of His sovereignty, His unity, and the perfection of His dominicality. Thus, through these four ways, a wide window opens onto knowledge of God, addressing the reason and showcasing the all-wise Maker on a grand scale. Now, if you, the unfortunate, heedless one, are unwilling to perceive and understand Him in this manner, you may choose to relinquish your reason, become an animal, and thereby find salvation.
The testimony of all the prophets, peace be upon them, who possessed luminous spirits among mankind, relying on their manifest and evident miracles, and the testimony of all the saints, who, with their luminous hearts, are the spiritual poles of mankind, relying on their illuminations and wonder-working, and the testimony of all the purified scholars who possess luminous minds, relying on their researches and verifications. The testimony of all these to the necessary existence, unity, and perfect dominicality of the single One of unity, the necessary existent, the Creator of all things, forms a truly vast and light-filled window. O you unfortunate denier! In whom do you place your trust so that you do not heed these? Or by closing your eyes in the daytime, do you imagine the world to be plunged into night? The universal worship in the cosmos self-evidently demonstrates an absolute object of worship. Indeed, the perfect obedience and worship of all angels and spirit beings, established by the testimony of those who have penetrated the spirit world and the inner dimension of things, and have met with the angels and spirit beings, along with the self-evident performance of duties in perfect order and worshipful manner by all living beings, and the submission of all inanimate things in carrying out their duties with perfect submission and in a worshipful manner, collectively demonstrate the necessary existence and unity of a true object of worship. Similarly, the true knowledge of the knowing, supported by consensus, the fruitful thanks of all those who offer thanks, the radiant glorification of all those who recite God's names, the bounty-increasing praises of all those who recite God's praises, the demonstrative proofs and descriptions of divine unity by all those who acknowledge it, the true love and passion of all lovers of God, the true will and desire of those who seek Him, and the earnest searching and penitence of all those who turn to Him. All these elements demonstrate the necessary existence, perfect dominicality, and unity of that pre-eternal all-worshipped One, the One who is known, mentioned, thanked, praised, won, beloved, desired, and sought. Furthermore, all the acceptable worship of perfected human beings, along with the spiritual radiance, supplications, visions, and illuminations resulting from their acceptable worship, once again demonstrate the necessary existence, unity, and perfect dominicality of that eternal being, the enduring object of worship. Thus, these three aspects open up a broad, light-giving window onto divine unity.
And He sends down water from the sky and brings forth with it fruits for your sustenance. And He has made subject to you the ships, that they sail through the sea by His command. And He has made the rivers subject to you. And He has made subject to you the sun and the moon, both diligently pursuing their courses. And He has made subject to you the night and the day. And He gives you of all that you ask Him. But if you count God's bounties, you will never be able to number them. Quran 14:32-34. The mutual assistance and cooperation of beings in the universe and the fact that they respond to one another show that all creatures are raised by a single nurturer, organized by a single director, under the jurisdiction of a single disposer, and are the servants of a single Lord. Through an all-embracing law of mutual assistance, the Son cooks the necessities for the lives of living beings on the earth through a dominical command. and the moon acts as a calendar. Light, air, water, and sustenance hasten to the assistance of living beings. Plants hasten to the assistance of animals. Animals hasten to the assistance of human beings, and the members of the body hasten to assist one another. Even particles of food hasten to the assistance of the cells of the body. This most wise and generous mutual assistance among beings, they're responding to one another's needs, and they're supporting and strengthening one another in accordance with a law of generosity, compassion, and mercy, show clearly and self-evidently that they are the servants, officials, and creatures of a sole, unique single one of unity, a peerless, eternally besought one, an absolutely powerful, absolutely knowing, absolutely compassionate, absolutely generous, necessarily existent one. O wretched, bankrupt philosophy, what can you say in the face of this mighty window? Can chance interfere in this? Through knowing a single Creator, all spirits and hearts are delivered from the distress and confusion arising from misguidance, and from the spiritual pains arising from distress. They are saved by attributing all beings to a single Maker. They find assurance through the remembrance of a single God. For, as is proved decisively in the 22nd word, if all beings are not attributed to a single being, it becomes necessary to ascribe a single thing to innumerable causes, and then the existence of a single thing becomes as difficult as all beings. For if attributed to God, innumerable things are ascribed to a single being, and if they are not attributed to Him, it becomes necessary to attribute everything to innumerable causes. Then a single fruit becomes as difficult as the universe, indeed, more difficult. For just as if the management of one soldier is given to 100 different people, 100 difficulties arise. And if 100 soldiers are given to the direction of one officer, they are as easy to manage as a single soldier. So too the coinciding of numerous different causes in the creation of a single thing is difficult to the 100th degree. And if the creation of numerous things is given to a single being, it becomes easy to the 100th degree. Thus it is only by recognizing the Creator's unity and knowledge of God that man may be delivered from the boundless distress arising from the desire to search for the truth inherent in his nature. Since there are endless difficulties and pains in unbelief and associating partners with God, that way is certainly impossible and devoid of truth. While since suitably to the ease, abundance, and fine art in the creation of beings, there is a boundless ease in affirming divine unity, that way is surely necessary, and the truth. O you miserable people of misguidance! See how dark and full of pain is the way of misguidance. What is it that makes you take it? And see how easy and pleasant is the way of belief and affirming divine unity. Take that way and be delivered. Glorify the name of your Sustainer, the All-Highest, who has created and given order and proportion, and who has determined the nature of all things, and guided them towards their fulfillment. Quran 87, 1-3. According to the meaning of this verse, all things, and especially living creatures, have been given a form and regular proportions in accordance with wisdom, as though they have emerged from a purposeful mold. Contained in those measured proportions are intricate extremities for various benefits and uses. And the form of their clothes and their proportions, which they change throughout the periods of their lives, are each immaterial and well-ordered and measured, and are composed of the appointed events of their lives again, in a fashion suitable to wisdom and benefits. This shows clearly that those innumerable creatures, whose forms and proportions have been planned in the sphere of determining of an all-powerful one of glory, an all-wise one of perfection, and who have been given forms fashioned in the workshop of divine power, point to that being's necessary existence and testify to his unity and perfect power with endless tongues. Look at your own body and its members and the fruits of its intricate and complex places. See the perfect power within the perfect wisdom.
According to the meaning of, and there is nothing but extols his limitless glory and praise. Quran 1744. Everything recalls its Creator through its own particular tongue and declares to his holiness. Yes, the glorifications all beings utter audibly and through the tongues of their beings demonstrate the existence of a single most holy being. The testimony of innate disposition may not be rejected, especially if the evidence comes from all sides. It cannot be doubted. Look, the well-ordered forms of beings, which through their manner of creation comprise endless testimony and offer evidence in innumerable ways through the tongue of disposition and look to a single center like concentric circles. All these are tongues. Similarly, their well-proportioned and balanced assemblages are all testifying tongues, and their perfect lives are all glorifying tongues. Thus, as is proved in the 24th word, their glorifying, extolling, and testifying to a single most holy being through all these tongues demonstrate a necessarily existent one, as light shows the sun, and point to the perfection of his Godhead.
Say, who is it in whose hands is the governance of all things? Quran 23:88. And there is nothing but its treasuries are with us. Quran 15:21. There is not a moving creature, but he has grasp of its forelock. Quran 11:56. Indeed, my sustainer watches over and records all things. Quran 11:57. According to the meaning of these verses, all things are in need of a single all-glorious Creator in everything, in all matters and circumstances. Indeed, we look at the beings in the universe, and we see that there is the manifestation of an absolute force within an absolute weakness, and the traces of an absolute power are apparent within an absolute impotence. Like, for example, the wonderful states and stages plants display when the life force awakens in their seeds and roots. There is the manifestation, too, of an absolute wealth within an absolute poverty and dryness, like the poverty of trees and the soil in winter, and their glittering wealth and riches in the spring. The sprinklings of an absolute life are also apparent within an absolute lifelessness, like the transformation of the elements into living matter. There is, moreover, the manifestation of an all-encompassing consciousness within an absolute ignorance. Like everything, from minute particles to the stars, acting consciously and conforming to the order of the universe and to the demands of wisdom and requirements of life. Thus this power within impotence, and strength within weakness, and wealth and riches within poverty, and life and consciousness within lifelessness and ignorance necessarily, and self-evidently open up windows on every side unto the necessary existence and unity of a possessor of absolute power and absolute strength, a possessor of absolute riches, an absolutely knowing, all-living and self-sufficient one. In their totality they point to a luminous highway on a vast scale, and so, O you heedless one who has fallen into the swamp of nature, if you do not quit nature and recognize divine power, you have to accept that in everything, in every minute particle even, reside an infinite force and power, a boundless wisdom and skill, and the ability to see, know, and administer most other beings.
According to the meaning of the verse, who has created everything in the best way, Quran 32:7. Everything is cut out according to its innate abilities with perfect measure and order, and put together with the finest art, in the shortest way, the best form, the lightest manner, and most practicable shape. Look at the clothes of birds, for example, and the easy way they ruffle up their feathers and continuously use them. Also, things are given bodies and dressed in forms in a wise manner with no waste and nothing in vain. They testify to their number to the necessary existence of an all-wise Maker, and point to that possessor of absolute power and knowledge.
The order and ordering in the creation and disposal of creatures, which are renewed season by season on the earth, show clearly a universal wisdom. Since an attribute cannot be without the one it qualifies, this universal wisdom necessarily shows an all-wise one. The wonderful adornment within the veil of wisdom self-evidently shows a perfect beneficence, and that perfect beneficence necessarily points to a gracious, all-generous Creator. The all-encompassing benevolence and bestowal within the veil of beneficence show self-evidently an all-embracing mercy, and that all-embracing mercy shows necessarily an all-merciful and all-compassionate one. The sustenance and foods of all living creatures above the veil of mercy all perfectly appropriate for their needs, show clearly a sustaining providence and a compassionate dominicality, and that sustaining and administering necessarily point to an all-generous provider. Yes, all the creatures on the face of the earth, thus raised with perfect wisdom, adorned with perfect beneficence, bestowed upon with perfect mercy, and nurtured with perfect compassion, testify to the necessary existence of an all-wise, munificent, compassionate, providing Maker, and points to his unity. Look at and consider also the universal wisdom which is apparent on the face of the earth as a whole and is to be seen in its totality, and shows clearly purpose and will, and the perfect beneficence embracing all creatures, which comprises the wisdom, and the all-encompassing mercy, which comprises the beneficence and wisdom and includes all the beings of the earth, and the most generous, sustaining and nurturing, which comprises the mercy and wisdom and beneficence and embraces all living creatures. Just as the 7 colors form light, and the light, which illuminates the face of the earth, undoubtedly shows the sun, so too that beneficence within wisdom, and mercy within beneficence, and sustaining and nurturing within mercy show brilliantly on a large scale, and at a high degree the unity and perfect dominicality of an utterly wise, generous, compassionate, providing necessarily existent one. O you stupefied and heedless denier, with what can you explain this wise, generous, compassionate, providential sustaining, this strange, wonderful, miraculous state of affairs which is before your eyes? With chance and coincidence, which are aimless like you, with force which is blind like your heart, with nature, which is deaf like your head, with causes which are impotent, lifeless, and ignorant like you? Or do you want to give the name of nature which is utterly impotent, ignorant, deaf, blind, contingent and wretched to the all-glorious one, who is utterly holy, pure, exalted, and free of all defect and absolutely powerful, knowing, hearing, and seeing, and thus perpetrate an infinite error? So with what force can you extinguish this truth brilliant as the sun? Under which veil of heedlessness can you conceal it? Indeed, in the heavens and earth are signs for those who believe. Quran 45:3. If we observe the face of the earth in the summer, we see that an absolute munificence and liberality, which necessitate confusion and disarrangement, is to be seen within a total harmony and order. Look at all the plants which adorn the face of the earth, and the utter speed in the creation of things, which necessitates imbalance and disorder, is apparent within a perfect equilibrium. Look at all the fruits which decorate the face of the earth, and an absolute multiplicity, which necessitates unimportance, indeed ugliness, is apparent within a perfect beauty of art. Look at all the flowers which gild the face of the earth, and the absolute ease in the creation of things, which necessitates lack of art and simplicity, is to be seen within an infinite art and skill and attention. Look carefully at all seeds, which are like the tiny containers and programs of the members of plants and trees, and the small cases containing their life histories, and the great distances, which necessitate difference and diversity, appear within an correspondence and conformity. Look at all the varieties of cereal grains sown in every part of the earth, and the total intermingling which necessitates confusion and muddle is on the contrary to be seen within a perfect differentiation and separation. Consider the perfect differentiation of seeds when they sprout, despite being cast into the earth all mixed up together and all resembling one another with regard to their substance, and the various substances which enter trees being separated out perfectly for the leaves, flowers, and fruits, and the foods which enter the stomach all mixed up together, being separated out perfectly according to the various members and cells. See the perfect power within the perfect wisdom, and the great abundance and infinite profusion, which necessitate unimportance and worthlessness, are to be seen as most valuable and expensive in regard to the creatures and art on the face of the earth. Within these innumerable wonders of art, consider only the varieties of mulberry, those confections of divine power, on the table of the all-merciful one on the face of the earth. See them within the perfect mercy, the perfect art. Thus, just as the day shows the light, and the light the sun, the great value together with the utter profusion, and the boundless intermingling and intermixing together with the utmost differentiation and separation within the utter profusion, and the great distance together with the utmost conformity and resemblance within the limitless differentiation and separation, and the infinite ease and facility together with the infinite care in the making within the utmost resemblance, and the absolute speed and rapidity together with the total equilibrium and balance and lack of waste within the most beautiful making, and the infinite abundance and multiplicity together with the highest degree of beauty of art within utter lack of waste, and the utmost munificence together with absolute order within the highest degree of beauty of art, all testify to the necessary existence, perfect power, beautiful dominicality, and unity and oneness of an all-powerful one of glory, an all-wise one of perfection, an all-compassionate and beauteous one. They demonstrate the meaning of the verse, His are the most beautiful names. Quran 20:8, 59, 24. So now, O you ignorant, heedless, obstinate wretch, with what can you interpret this mighty truth? With what can you explain this infinitely miraculous and wonderful state of affairs? To what can you attribute these truly extraordinary arts? What veil of heedlessness can you draw across this window as broad as the earth and so close it? Where is your chance and coincidence, your unconscious companion on which you rely and call nature, your friend and support in misguidance? It is totally impossible for chance and coincidence to interfere in these matters, isn't it? And to attribute to nature 1,000th of them is impossible 1,000 times over, isn't it? Or does lifeless, impotent nature have immaterial machines and printing presses within each single thing, made from each and to the number of each?